Not yet.
I'm not looking for that.
Since you look so professional and so radiant.
No, you're biased because you love me.
In fact, I need those because that way I can hear better.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we are live. I see you over there, brother. Welcome, everybody. Come on in. Y'all come on in. Tag your friends. Come on into this exclusive interview. Reveal and Heal. Come on in. Come on in. I'm so excited about this interview. Tag your friends. Tag everyone. We have a special Reveal and Heal. I have my brother Chad Lawson Cooper. He's an actor and producer. I also have Harry Lennox. He's going to be coming in shortly. He is, of course, an actor and producer. Y'all know about Harry Lennox. He has a long resume of great movies that you all have had the pleasure of viewing. And of course, one would be Ray Charles, and the other would be Stomp the Yard, and of course, the Five Heartbeats.
Five Heartbeats.
We call him Dresser. Ain't got nothing but love for you, baby. You know, that signature voice. Welcome, brother.
Thank you, sister.
So glad to have you. You always come through for me.
Well, you know, it's been like we've been thinking what they call it, thick as thieves since the day we met. Oh gosh, what 13 years ago?
Yes.
It's been a long time.
And it's been great ever since.
I don't even think Caleb was born. I think my wife was pregnant with the baby boy. So it's been over 13 years.
Right. And I remember you sharing the testimony with me, him being a miracle baby.
Well, he was the surprise baby. So celebrity was the miracle baby. And then Chad was the baby I said, let's go make. Let's go make a son in my own image.
Lord. Listen, I'm not doing this with you. I'm not doing this with you. You know, you were popular for Church Mess to Play at that time. And yes. I seen you were like all over North Georgia. You were all over. Everybody was talking about Church Mess to Play. How long did you do that?
For 10 years, we did Church Mess in 167 cities across the country. We stayed on the road. 300 days out of the year, I traveled. So I'm so glad I'm retired from that now.
Oh God, I'm grateful that you are too. And normally, you know, when you are on the road like that, busy like that, it can wear on your body.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I was telling somebody I still work hard, you know, now that I'm, you know, in movies and I went back to pastoring as well. But I'm able to get up when I want to get up and go to bed when I want to go to bed, and there's no pressure. You know, I'm traveling, you know, at my own pace, but you know, being on the road nonstop, living out of a suitcase is crazy. I think Mr. Lennox is on.
Are you on, Harry?
Voice only, I see.
Okay, I don't see it. I don't see a picture. He's probably trying to get situated. It's all good.
Yeah, this is like you know, a super encrypted 2-time authentication, NASA data encrypted. Good Lord, what's going on? Hi, this is Harry.
You staring up something. You staring up something.
I tried to join, but I need to know my passwords and all kinds of other secret identifications. But it's wonderful to hear your voice.
Yours as well. You know, you sound like Barack Obama.
He sounds like me. He sounds like me.
Is that right?
I was
Okay, you
first.
must be the big
BBB.
brother.
That's right.
Wow. Well, it's an honor to have you on Reveal and Heal. I wish I could see your face.
Yes, I do too. I'm sure I can figure it out at some point. I just don't know how to do it. I don't know yeah.
We got a good hour.
Yeah.
You know, I'm no genius myself. Well, less than an hour at this point. But I'm no genius myself when it comes to dealing with technology. But you'll figure it out. I definitely am thankful that you were able to come on. I know that you have a tight schedule and you're busy and all, and we're gonna move forward. I have a couple of questions because your voice is very distinguishing, and we know your voice, sir. And a lot of us still call you Dresser. Do you hear that?
Oh, all the time. Yeah, it's great. I'm very excited to be called that. It's 30 years old now, this movie, and it's
today, right?
Yeah, something like that. We did a Clubhouse interview with all of the people, all of the Heartbeats, at least yesterday. There were hundreds of people on the call, on the Clubhouse thing. So yeah, 30 years ago, we were doing this movie. I think it must have been coming out at about this time. And, people to this day still associate those of us who were in it with that movie. And I'm very, very grateful for that.
Well, I remember everybody, but I have to be honest. We all still hear that song. I ain't got nothing but love for you, baby. And that draw. You know what I'm saying? It's like when y'all was in the car, you just tired, that long draw, baby.
That's right.
Hey, my sister, we just sent Harry a different link just to link on.
Okay.
Let him log off and come back on because I know you want to see his face.
Yeah, everybody does. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you, Cooper? Did you send it to me?
I texted it to you.
Okay, so I'm going to try to join. I'm better with email than text, but I'll see what I can do here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me do that as well. Just to let me make it easy.
So you're going to go out too?
What? I'm sorry. What did you say?
Are you going out too, Chad?
No, I'm going to still be on.
Okay.
I ain't going nowhere, as the song says.
Okay, don't you do it now. We got some talking to do. I'm not gonna really harp so much on a lot of things that are relatable to your purpose, because I really am excited about talking about the movie Revival.
Right.
And I want others to hear so that they can have an opportunity to enjoy the movie.
Well, you're absolutely right. It's the only movie of its kind that portrays a Black Jesus, many Black disciples, and to be able to gather that many stars to come together and provide this level of talent.
Yeah.
Just to be a part of something that's different and nobody else has been able to do. A lot of thought and preparation went into this movie and a lot of money. This is a $3 million film. And, it's something to be proud of that was done by us and for us.
Right.
Yeah. And it's real. It's really it's the gospel of Jesus, line upon line, precept upon precept, according to the book of John. So you see the woman at the well, you see John baptizing Jesus. And I love that part so much because many times in ministry, we may come first. Our calling may be revealed first, but John was man of God enough and God of man enough to say, I'm good, but there's another one that's coming behind me that's even greater, whom I'm not even worthy to tie his shoes. And to see this word displayed in cinema, and in music, is and it's something we should watch every year, just like some watch Charlie Brown every year for Easter. Right. We as a group of people should watch Revival the movie every year because it's that same story, that same rhema. It's the logos, but it's the rhema as well. It's like reading the word. Sometimes you get a new mercy, a new revelation every time.
Is it an all-black cast?
It's 99% black. There's, and Harry will tell you the difference. There's a couple of people that aren't black, maybe Asian and another nationality, but it's for the most part it's predominantly black.
Wow.
Do you all see me? No?
I do not.
Huh. I see you.
You do?
Yeah, appear to be on here. Maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Okay, my assistant says that she can see you, but I can't see you from where I am. You just went out.
Do you have your camera icon pressed?
I don't see a camera icon. I'm on the call, but I don't see a camera icon.
Did you do it from your phone or from the computer?
I've done it from my phone because I can't, for whatever reason, I don't know how to get onto the computer, but.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. But yeah,
but it works fine for me because he doesn't get to be the most handsome one on this time. I can shine.
Oh, never that, I'm afraid. But I see you all.
Don't pay us any mind, Lady D. We play
I
all
know
the time.
you. I know you. My Lord. Well, now that you're back, Harry, of course, Chad was talking about the movie Revival and how amazing it is. Tell me your experience in filming this movie.
Well, it started really as a Easter play, like it was a little church play, Easter pageant, like they do all over the country, all over the world in many ways. And I couldn't think of anything that actually used our music, that is Black sacred music, which is the greatest music in the world to tell this story. And I wasn't able to find anything that was available that we could use to do our play. So with Holly Carter, Dr. Holly Carter, a wonderful artist and manager and writer, we concocted this idea of taking the Gospel of John and setting it to gospel music. And lots of people, half the church was in it. And then the other half came to see it, and you couldn't get a seat. And after I saw the response to it, I knew that it would rock the party, move the crowd, and actually bring it back to not faith-based, but to the very basis of the faith itself. That is that this guy from nowhere, a couple of thousand years ago, said some things that shook up the world, and to this day, it remains the most powerful influence that the world has ever known. You can take it or let it alone, but you cannot discount it. You cannot say that it didn't happen because it's everywhere. And every other group of people, every other population of people did what they should have done, did what we should have done, and made that Jesus, made that Savior, made that personal Redeemer look like themselves. We are the only group of people, to my knowledge, that worship a God that is the opposite of their physical type. And so, we have reclaimed Jesus to the cause, to the culture, to the people from whence he sprung. And it isn't just nationality or race or whatever. We know that. But we do also know that Jesus Christ was a man of color who was a mere donkey ride away from Africa, from Egypt, where he went to evade the persecutions of King Herod. And so we have to understand that the people of that time didn't have long, flowing blonde hair and blue eyes. That would have been considered extremely unsanitary. They wouldn't have been able to keep the lice out of their hair. They had to have short hair. They had to be dark of skin. They were very close to, this is pre-Arab in this part of the world, by the way. So there's no Arabs walking around. These are black people of color, if you will. We call them black. You can call them whatever you want. But people of color, a man who came in sinful flesh, who came among the people. Now, he didn't do that by accident. He came because he wanted the people who were the most persecuted to be able to identify with him so that he could be a revelation to them, so that they could actually go and use the system that the Roman Empire had set up to persecute them and to keep them down. They used that very system, the Roman road system, which was supposed to spread the Roman army, the Roman legions. They used that to go onto the road to spread this gospel, this good news, this word that Jesus has come for you. And all you have to do is claim him as he has claimed you. And that idea changed the world. He told him to go into all the nations and preach the word, he said. And so that's what we're doing. Now we can get into all the nations with the push of a button. And God has given us this wonderful man of God named Chad Lawson Cooper, who understands this technology, understands the people, who can inculcate it and spread it and accept it, and maybe even change the direction of their lives.
Wow. Well, I know that we as a people, as a Black people, are truly going to be fascinated to be able to set eyes on a movie that represent us in such a way. I'm talking about real talk. I'm talking about the real deal. This is not a myth. It's not, a pretense, but this is real that you're sharing, a real story. And we're in it.
That's right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Lady D, thank you for those kind words. Brother Harry, I call him Bishop, Archbishop.
Yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue. I remember hearing that. A little bird.
Yeah. But of course, it was his creativity to think, to even do something of this caliber, and to make it work, and the stick-to-itiveness to continue to stick with it until the work is completed. It reminds me of the scripture that he that has began a work is more than able to complete that work. And that in itself speaks volumes, that this film is a mission, it's a ministry, it's a mission. And to have, to have his expertise and creative genius, he'll deny it, and he'll humble it, but I would say, almost as an erudite of some sort, just when it comes to understanding the biblical text. Just brilliant, and there's nothing like it anywhere. There's nothing to compare it to, not from an African American or an Afro-American, an Afrocentric, African diaspora comparison. There's nothing to compare it to. So it's something that we all should get behind and say, this is ours.
Something we can call ours, huh?
Yep. We finally got a gospel-based, Christian-based, line upon line, precept upon precept movie that we can call ours.
Who's the creator? Who's the mind behind this?
I just told you, Harry Lennox.
All by himself.
No. I wish I could claim it, but and then again, I don't. But Dr. Cooper is my dear friend, and
Man, I
a
tell you, I'm
champion.
not used to Dr. Cooper being modest. I know my brother.
Well, somewhere in there, Sister Deborah is a man
No, he didn't.
who
He didn't even mention
who has
himself.
some modesty. Yeah, but
Shots fired.
Right.
shots fired. That's right. Well, I can tell you that I did not invent this whole cloth. The real inspiration for it was the gospel itself, which is which Cooper tells me is called the spiritual gospel, and I call it. I was calling it a supplemental gospel. It doesn't follow the typical gospel stories, what the so-called synoptic gospels, but this is a little bit different. It's a little more poetic. It's got some kind of esoteric, poetic, spiritual things that isn't for everybody, I don't think. But I think that, honestly, when I heard the music for the first time in my life, just listening as a Catholic seminarian, somebody who went to study to be a priest for years. I met the Pope when I was 15 years old in 1979. And I heard this music for the first time at a funeral. That is to say, gospel music as such, at a funeral for one of our classmates, actually a young white fellow who was killed in Marquette Park. And somebody sang "Going Up Yonder." And I had never heard it. We actually played that at my mother's funeral. And I cried. It's like, I'm going up yonder to be with my Lord. I could take the pain, the heartache, and the rain, all of the words of the wonderful Edwin Hawkins song. I think it's Edwin Hawkins. And I was like, what is this? Where have they been hiding this stuff? And so later I went to college, and they had a group called Northwestern Community Ensemble, and they had people like Percy Beatty would come up and play, and all kinds of other magnificent musicians. And so I really got a chance to hear it and fall in love with it. And I was like, this is the most powerful tool that I've ever heard. And why isn't it put into some sort of visual form where we can see our people singing it? Are people embracing it? This is before I even studied it as to what the real history of Jesus was as a biographical man, when I assumed that he was a white guy.
Right.
And I didn't think that mattered. But if it didn't matter, they wouldn't have put it out there like that. So, it occurred to me that it did matter. And then later I found some evidence. They can dig up, they got bones right now of the people who lived there around the time of Jesus, at the time of Jesus, and looks nothing like that medieval 15th century white man or 14th century white man they put out there. Nothing like that. And so, when I was radicalized by this concept that the truth had been hiding in plain sight all along, and that the people who needed it most were the ones that it was meant to be for. And so I got to this church on the south side of Los Angeles, South Central, and I saw these people, and I heard how they delivered this message and saw their relationship with God, how they could talk to him like he was really related to them, in many ways, how they couldn't really find, the formal expression that I had seen at the Catholic Church, but they had a much more important, deeper relationship. And so with Holly Carter guiding my hand, more or less, and many of the church people creating their own parts, really making it up to some extent. Musicians, like in the case of Mali Music, for example, Donald Lawrence, a guy by the name of Eric Lewis, Elu, Abdul Robinson Royal. These people created half of the music based on their own life experiences in the church, some of them ordained. And, you guys were talking a little bit earlier about, is it all black? Well, I'm going to go back to the Reverend Adam Clayton Powell, who said that black is a state of mind, and to say that, the people who did this movie are all black, and that Jesus was black, because that's a state of mind. It is a condition of identifying with those who have a special relationship, who are chosen, and for whom being chosen is not always the easy path. What does it say? It says straight. This is narrow is the path to righteousness, or something, Cooper, doesn't it say? Wide is the path to destruction, and so forth. But we have been put on a very narrow path as the chosen people, and in this country, and we have an obligation to correct the record, and to correct the record not just in terms of, as I say again, race and phenotype and genre of music and all that, but to correct the record spiritually, and to give this to the people for whom it was meant. To say that there is a way out of way, that there's a way out of no way, a balm in Gilead, a special relationship that we can have going forward. And if you just accept the gift, many of the problems that we have today would disappear right away. But we are, as I say, we are a stiff-necked people. But this is a little something to loosen up the neck of the people who will receive it.
Amen. Amen. I think Lady D is about to pass out.
Listen, I'm excited to see this movie. I'm all about us. I'm excited to see this movie, and I'm glad that you're talking about it. How long did it take y'all to film?
Oh wow, that's a loaded question in many ways. We started this movie. We started the whole project in 2013, around this time. It was an Easter play in 2013. I was flying back and forth from New York to direct it in LA at the little church, cross country every weekend. And so that was 2013. Here it is, 2021. So in reality, it really took 8 years, because that's where we are now. But, in terms of the filming it, that started in November of 2013, December. And we really didn't wrap filming it until sometime late in 2016. It took that long. I literally took every check that I made from the show I'm on, the Blacklist, and funneled it into this movie. I had to borrow money at very vigorous interest rates, 30, 40%, crazy things. But I would not take no for an answer. That is, a man 2,000 years ago, for no reason that I could see it, that I wouldn't have done it, he got on a cross and died for everybody's sins, most of whom rejected it out of hand. They were like, man, don't do this for me. You're not speaking for me. And so if he could do that, then I can certainly spend some money that Hollywood was making available to me. As far as I'm concerned, I only got this job on the show that paid for it for the purpose of doing this job, for the purpose of fulfilling this mission. And it'll never be over. Like I told somebody the other day, it's like, as long as there's breath in my body, I'm going to make people aware that there's this movie out there, because it's the straight up good news. I didn't make it up. You talk about who invented this, guy named Jesus Christ. I didn't think of, these stories are all in the Bible. I didn't invent any of them. I interpreted some of them in a kind of different way because I think that he would approve that, he interpreted scripture in a radically different way than people approved of. He was like, hey, but he also said, don't change a jot or tittle. I'm here to fulfill this, although he immediately turned it all on its head. So this is, but he remained faithful to the principle of the relationship. And so that's what this movie is really about. It's like, the people do it all the time. You've seen it, Sister Deborah. They got the Son of God comes out, makes history on television, comes out, makes $60 million at the box office after it was on TV for free. People paid $60 million to see this white Spanish dude. God bless him. As I say, they're doing what they should do. It's just that we should do it too. But that said, it is an obligation for, as far as I'm concerned, to make it available. Where there is drought, it is an obligation to bring water, if I've got it. Where there's ignorance, it is my obligation to bring light, if I have it. If there is, hunger, I can bring bread. And so all I have to do is just to give back to the people who gave it to me.
Right, sir.
What'd you say, brother?
I said, preach, preacher.
Listen.
Oh, okay.
Sunday, the word is going
Well, good. Very good. Well, it speaks for me. I don't really have to, it preaches for itself, but I'm going to, as long as I'm alive, as I say, I'm going to continue to put it out there because I am very, 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 very humbly proud of the fact that we finished it. In spite of everything, it's done. It's out there. It will be available. It is available, and go and get it. Those who have ears, let them hear.
Wow. You just feel compelled to do your part.
That's right. That's right. That's right. What else can I, what I mean? What else can I do? But that's not to say that that's not, I could do a lot. We can all do a lot. People do a lot. People do a lot every day.
Well, the harvest is plenty. The harvest is plentiful,
Yes.
but the laborers are few.
Yes.
Come on.
And that's always been the problem. It's the church as we know it's always been carried by just a remnant, a fraction. The message has always been carried by a remnant, a fraction of the people. Jesus had many followers, but a few disciples. Because the burden of ministry is not easy. And when you take consideration of the cost of ministry, a lot of people don't want to deny themselves and take up their cross and walk. They'll watch you do it, and they'll benefit. They benefited from Jesus dying on the cross and benefited more from him, being raised from the dead. But the scripture says, if any man follow me, let him take up his cross and follow me. That's we live in a generation of people that don't like that type of gospel because they don't want that responsibility. But that's the only way.
Right.
That's the only way to him is by the cross. And it's a suffering way. If ministry was so easy, everybody would be doing it. And this is ministry on a whole nother levels. It's cinematic ministry.
Right.
It's kingdom ministry. And so it's commendable because it takes so much preciseness and ingenuity and as I said this before, stick-to-itiveness to make this work. And so, man, I'm just excited to be a part of it. You know, I'm in it to win it, to keep pushing it, to keep believing in the effects of it. And it's our prayer that many will be saved, healed, and delivered.
Well,
Yes, sir.
it's definitely outreach ministry, and it's evangelism, and it's your pulpit, it's the church outside of the walls. It's just a platform that y'all have chose to. You can do so much more with it. I remember when they were marketing and promoting Passion of the Christ, they reached out to the churches. Is that what y'all are doing? Are y'all coming together to promote churches to just, you know?
Absolutely. We have I don't know how many churches that are a part of it, that's promoting it. But like you said, I went to see the Passion of Christ, and I couldn't even watch the whole thing because because it first of all, it was not in English, and I didn't like just reading the subtitles, and I knew it was not depicting what was the truth. So I don't know if you and I are on here alone, Harry. But the host will be right back. She did a Bobby Jones. This is Bobby Jones Gospel. We'll be right back.
We lost her briefly, huh?
Yeah, I think she'll be back on shortly.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, but yes, sir. I'm excited. As to I can't hear stay. Okay, she said she's coming back on. She just sent a text. As to what we can expect, you know, God to do.
Right.
I'm expecting great things.
Yes. Yes, particularly in Hollywood. You know, I always go back to that big pastor where it talks about he will make a table for me in the presence of my enemy. You'll be able to sit down and eat in the presence of your known enemy. That's something right there. That's what this is.
That's it. That's it. And David was able to rejoice knowing that the table was presented and there's nothing that they could do about it but watch him eat.
Right. Nothing they could do about it.
They said, man, that steak looks good.
oh my God.
Right.
Yeah. So if be not weary in well doing.
Right.
You know, for
you
at the
appointed time. Right?
That's it. At the Kairos. I'm gonna do a little bit of your talking right now. Sir. At the Greek word, at the Kairos. The appointed time, the moment, the right time, God's gonna blow our minds. And he's, you know, we're in that Kairos. I talked about that Sunday that God has moved us from the Greek word of chronos time. It's where we get the word chronological, some sort of timekeeping, though the present sufferings of this time shall not be compared to the glory that shall be revealed, to the Kairos time, being that he's changing us from the quantity of time to the quality of time. And we'll see a different quality in this season than we've seen before. And we won't focus so much on how long this is taking or how long it's not taking, but we'll vast in the quality of the time that we're living in now.
Tell me, Dr. Cooper, what is a church strategy to reach across the board when it comes to our people and channeling them to pay more attention to us as a people when it comes to this movie? Because it's all us. And you know, when you can be condition minded, you know what I'm saying? You can be conditioned to think away because that's what you're used to and that's how you were raised, and you feel like you're not a a real Christian or you feel like you're sinning if you don't stick to what grandmama taught you.
Well, first, let me apologize if you hear any noise. We're actually on the road leaving Washington, D.C.,
Okay. No
headed back to New York. And Harry, you'll get a kick out of this. Robert De Niro's chauffeur is driving us back.
Oh, wow. That's royalty right there.
Yeah. And so we stopped at Waffle House because we don't have Waffle House in the north. And so when I'm in the south, I like to, to get some Waffle House. So if you hear a little noise, you just know that's what we're doing. You said something that's key. Many churches came out to support the Passion of Christ. I'm not downing another film. It just wasn't, to me, it just did not appeal to all people, and particularly to people of color. And so for that reason, but we still supported it. It would be almost insane not to support a movie that's not it's not a low budget, rinky dinky movie that's filmed on an iPhone and just put together, stitched together, and just to make something. A lot of thought and preparation, research has gone into this. Again, I can't stress the quality of this movie. So it makes sense for us to support us. Has always been a problem among the Black church community about supporting each other. And it's not about denomination. It's not about, whether you are in the North or the South. This movie is for everybody. And whether you're Pentecostal, whether you're AME, a CME, a United Methodist, a PAW, it's for all of us. Even if you don't even go to church, it's for all of us. Perhaps you're just kingdom people and you don't go to church regularly. It's a movie that just happens to be the Word of God. So we're partnering with churches that are getting the word out. Many churches are buying blocks of group tickets because it's a virtual watch party, 11 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. And it's only $9.99, but when the churches that partner with us put in their code, we'll be able, like yours may be Relationship because that's the name of, one of your shows. It could be, just for an example, it could be Coach Deb, could be your code. So many churches have codes, and if people put that in, we're able to track it to that church. The church gets 10%, and it takes the price down to $7.99. So the Passion of Christ tickets were, $13, and they gave nothing back to the church. So because for us, it's really about people seeing it, but we do want to continue to support Black filmmakers that are putting their all into it so that we can continue to create these stories, content, creative stories that's already, the Bible is there, but wouldn't it be wonderful to see the Book of Ruth on film? Wouldn't it be wonderful? And instead of, buffoonery that's out there, or wouldn't it be wonderful to see, the Book of Revelation or the Book of, it's just the Book of Acts, when all God's children got together and represented 50 people in a room, and they, sat there for days until a rushing mighty wind came and it filled the house. And they were all filled with the Holy Ghost and started speaking in tongues, and the church was birthed, and Peter became the first pope. Since then, Harry has been noted as the Pontiff.
There are about 70 some guys that would disagree with that. That's awesome.
But go ahead.
What you're stating is very relevant, and it's time. It really is time for us. As it's like seasons are shifting. And we're giving chance after chance. It's time for us to come together. It's time for us to support one another. Without a motive, just because we love each other, just because we want to be the change. And be an example. It's time. Which reminds me, as we begin to wind down, I do want to know how important, and this question is for you, and of course, Mr. Lennox. How important is it to be the change? Because I know that y'all are inspired to be the change through theater. But how important is it first to be the change that people want to see? You can't do a whole lot of talking sometimes. People ain't paying attention to a whole lot that you're saying, but it's in your action. It's in, you being the example, just like this movie. Major. So you're not just telling the people what we need to do. Y'all are doing it. So how important is it for you to be the change that people need to see or that you want to see?
Well, somewhere, and by the way, I was right. It's been 266 popes, but this would include it now, by the way. I just did a little thing. But while I was doing that, I was also thinking of the word that will answer the question you just asked us today. Why is it important for us to do it? And it took me to James 1:22, where it says, "But be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deluding your own selves." Be ye doers of the word.
Noted.
And not hearers only, deluding your own selves. And so, we sit in our pious little silos in COVID or even in the world when it's opened up, and we look and point fingers and judge others. We say, why doesn't that man pull himself up by the bootstraps? Where we have a closet full of shoes that nobody's worn for decades. And instead of giving boots to the people, we point our fingers and wag our tongues. So for me, as I say, it's not to, and as Cooper says, not to put down anybody else's movie or talk about anybody else's walk or crisis, but it is, well, what have you done? What prevented you? Jesus said, whatever you do to the least of these, you do to me.
Mm-hmm.
It says in the word, do unto others. It doesn't say feel or think or talk unto others. It says do what you would have them do unto you. And so the only thing that we can do is, since God gave me breath and a body that is able, what else can I do? I'll put it to you this way. There's a wonderful quote by Samuel Beckett, the great Irish playwright, and philosopher, and so forth. And he said, when you're up to your neck in mud and dirt, there's nothing left to do but sing. So as long as when life seems that it's terrible, Jesus is up on the cross. What was he doing? He's forgiving people. He said, man, forgive them. They don't know. They don't know, man. He wasn't saying, hey, woe is me. And you know what I mean? He didn't say that. He said, why have you done this? Why have you forgotten about me? A very human thing to say. And I think in so doing, carrying that with him up onto the cross. But in his last actions, he's telling John, he said, behold, your mother, behold your son. Into your hands I commit. These are the last. There's a bunch of speeches about the last sayings of Christ. But that said, he was actively at that time taking an action, putting love into action. And so when you're an actor, you have to be acting. When you are a
Mhm.
producer, you have to be producing. When you are a content provider, we have to do that. And so we are praising our God by doing what he gifted us uniquely to do. And
Wow.
so that's why, to me, it's important.
What about you, Dr. Cooper, as we wind down?
I would like to. I mean, what can you say after that?
What can you say? It really sealed it, didn't it? It's like he went from the word, he brought it, to the very point of, it's like, okay, help me, Lord.
I mean, I tell Pontus, Holy Pontus, that I tell him all the time. He has such a gift to articulate and
Well,
expound on
he's a
the word.
storyteller too, because he takes you
Exactly.
there. You're able to
So
see everything that he's saying.
yeah, so it's no need to recreate or to add to that. That was perfect. We got to be the change. And that's basically it. Be ye doers of the word. We have to be the change. Let's not talk about it, but let's be about it.
Let's be about it.
And know that if we do that, all things will work together for our good. There's nothing that the enemy can do that'll prosper against you when you're in God's will. He may try it, but it won't work.
It won't work.
It just won't work. So, Lady D, the way people can really support is to go to revivalthemovie.com. Revivalthemovie.com. And help support it by purchasing, a virtual ticket and telling their friends about it, posting it on their pages. And let's make this Easter a big, celebration.
Okay.
And on top of that, at the 3 o'clock, after the 3 o'clock showing, we're going to have a Q&A, or basically a conversation about the importance of Black content.
Okay.
And in particularly Black Christian content.
Okay.
And it's going to be, of course, Harry Lennox, Bishop Noel Jones, Bishop E. Dewey Smith, Bishop Kevin Adams, Pastor Alan Connolly, and myself. We'll just have this conversation and bless some people on Sunday. I believe it's going to be just a whole bunch of greatness on this Zoom to talk about Revival the Movie and the effects that movies can do like this for people. So remember, it's Revival the Movie.
We're going to pin that in there.
Yeah, revivalthemovie.com. And I feel led just to just for the listeners tonight, those that are heavy laden and just dealing with how God's going to do it. Am I in the right place? Am I doing the right things? And why perhaps things are going the way they are. I just feel led to do a little bit of, why should I feel discouraged? And why should the shadows come? Why should my heart feel lonely and long for heaven and home? Oh, when Jesus is my portion, a constant friend is he. Oh, is it is on the sparrow arms over you and me. Be encouraged.
Oh, what a perfect close.
Magnificent.
What a perfect
Thank
close.
you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you. Harry Lennox, I would ask you to just hit that "Ain't Got Nothing But Love for You, Baby." That's what we want to hear, sir.
Well, I got to say that I think somewhere the James must have put out "Be ye speakers of the word and not singers of it." Because I can't sing.
Oh my goodness. Okay, you know, I ain't gonna press. I am not gonna press. I'm so honored that you graced the podium with Relationship Lounge presents Reveal and Heal. And I'm hoping that this is not the last time.
Never. No, it will not be.
Absolutely
As long as I'm alive, we will do it.
You are now a part of the Reveal and Heal family. And my brother from another man, listen, you always come through for your sister. You never disappoint. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Harry,
The word is your bond. Show nothing.
Harry, I'll tell you this story offline. The last time Lady D and I were together in person, we actually were coming from Chicago. And when I tell you this story, you're gonna pass out.
I can't wait to hear it. I cannot wait.
Let him meet me personally before you start telling all that stuff. Man. Well, listen, we're gonna go ahead and close, but I want to let you know that I love you guys. It's so much that's about to take place with Reveal and Heal, so we want everybody that's paying attention to stay tuned. One more time, brother, tell everybody how they can get those tickets, because we have it pinned in the comments, and we're going to also promote. So just say again, you and Harry, please share one more time before we close.
Go to revivalthemovie.com, revivalthemovie.com, and get your tickets. $9.99. Put in the discount code. You can put in Revival 2020 as a discount code, and it goes down to $7.99. And you are blessing us to be a greater blessing with even other productions that we will be doing in the future. And you'll have a wonderful time. It's a great movie for the whole family. Revivalthemovie.com.
Excellent. Mr. Lennox, let the people hear your voice one more time, sir. Please.
Well, I'll let them hear me saying thank you for this great opportunity and for your encouragement. Thank you, Pastor Cooper, for that magnificent gift of song that you have, and you know we will repay the people and you, sister, on Easter Sunday when you see the movie. It is really its own reward, and you know, a lot of labor and love went into it, and we can't wait to share it with the people.
Excellent. Thank you once again.
Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed an exclusive interview with Coach Deb, Chad Lawson Cooper, and Harry Lennox. Remember, you can't heal unless you reveal. Good night.
Good night. Love you all.
Love you.